At some point in time, the Aral Sea was the fourth largest freshwater body in the world. But people decided to turn the area at the border of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan into a cotton paradise and change the flow of rivers running to the sea. According to history, the Amudarya basin diverted numerous times from the Aral Sea towards the Caspian Sea, and this caused the lake to diminish in size. But the river flow returned and the Aral Sea was full again. And in the 60s, most of the water was sent to irrigation channels. This was the start to the experiment of irrigating cottonlands in Central Asia. Indeed, the harvest was unthinkably big, but the Aral Sea began to grow shallow and shrink in size. Before, its size was equal to the size of Ireland. The Aral Sea was 426 kilometers in length and 284 kilometers in width. Its maximum depth was 68 meters. Before the 70s, the Aral Sea had 34 kinds of fish, and the annual commercial fishing yield reached 60,000 tons. If in the early 60s the sea had an inflow of around 60 cubic kilometers of water every year, then in the early 70s this number dropped down to 40, in the early 80s it was 15, and in the 90s the water inflow stabilized at the point of 5 cubic kilometers per year. Only in 1985, when the USSR was in a stage of restructuring, the whole world found out about the state of the Aral Sea. Underground sources, precipitation in the form of snow and rain, feed the sea, but it still loses a lot of water due to evaporation, and its salinity level keeps on rising. The sea has moved 100 kilometers from its former shoreline. Today, the whole world knows about the fate of the inland salt lake in Central Asia. There are photos on the internet showing rusted ships sitting in the deserted lands among thorns and saxaul trees. A very sad view. The world-famous band Pink Floyd filmed its video clip of the Aral Sea as a message to humanity. Perhaps people should not meddle in nature and try to drastically alter its laws, because it is not nature that came to visit us. We are the guests. The Aral Sea is surrounded by 3 deserts. In the east there are the sands of Kızılkum, in the south there is Karakum, in the west there is a rocky plateau of Sturt, and in the north of the Aral Sea there are the Kazakh steppes. The rivers Amudarya and Sirdarya, the confluences of which form in the mountains of Pamir and Tanshan, cross the borders of Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. It is historically known that in 1852 to 1853, the Russian Rear Admiral Bulgakov initiated the establishment of the Aral fleet. The first ships of the fleet were the steamboat Perovsky and the iron steam launch Obruchev. In 1855, 7 more iron rowing boats were delivered to the Aral Sea. In 1857, Bulgakov arranged the ship expedition to the Aral Sea and the delta of the Amudarya River for hydrographic studies. The expedition participants mapped the contours of the sea, measured the depth in its different parts. The expedition of Lieutenant Bulgakov discovered the Возрождение Island that was initially named as the island of Tsar Nikolai I. Immeasurable herds of saiga grazed on its territory of over 200 kilometers, and the sea was full of fish, and the shores had lots of aquatic birds. Back then, the Aral was still a giant lake, which was preserved after the ancient sea Tethys had disappeared. While moving away, the water turned islands into peninsulas, and the area of existing islands increased. In 2001, the Возрождение Island, which was previously located in the middle of the Aral, became a peninsula. In 2003, due to the drying out, the Aral Sea split into eastern and western parts. A new desert appeared around it, and dust storms carried tons of salt and sand in the area. The climate here had also changed. Summers became drier and hotter, and winters became colder and longer. The island Barsak-el-Mes is located in the northwest of the Aral Sea. The name translates from Kazakh as "if you go, you will not return." This place is considered magic and mysterious. It occasionally happened that expeditions coming to Barsak-el-Mes found themselves in a white fog. According to the people, in the fog they were wandering around for 20 minutes or so, but it turned out that those who remained on the shore were in panic, because actually more than 24 hours had passed since they went up deep inside the island. There are stories that some people remained on the island for several months, and when they returned back home, they found their family members much older or sometimes did not find anyone at all. People say that time freezes there every now and then, and lots of people in the world have discussions concerning the abnormalities on the Barsak el-Mes island. There is a reason why the island got its name.
Сейчас мы вот стоим на самом, как говорится, верху этого острова, и вот впереди нас стоит стела.
We are standing, as they say, on top of the island. And here ahead of us is a stela symbolizing the place where people used to live. They lived by this sea and they believed in the future of this sea. But unfortunately the sea is gone and people were forced to leave this place. And now, in memory of their time on this island, they set up the stela. But at the moment this area is a national park, a very nice area with our most protected kinds of animals living here, and a beautiful landscape. And now we can say that the status of the protected land allowed this park to have a decent number of kulans, Persian gazelles, and it also has very good saxaul right here. In 1939, a part of the Barsak el-Mes island, with an area of 20,000 hectares, was pronounced as a national park. The Barsak el-Mes island is located in the northwestern part of the Aral Sea. Its southern part is a plateau with around 100 meters in height. To the north there is a flatland, crossed by narrows and depressions. Here is a brief geographic description of the place, which caused great interest in the members of the sci-fi fan club. As many witnesses say, the Barsak el-Mes island has lots of mysteries.
Сейчас мы находимся на территории участка Каскабулан, Барsak el-Mes государственного заповедника.
Right now we're in the part which is called Kaskakulan of the Barsak el-Mes National Park. This section was added to it in 2005 when the Aral Sea moved away and many endangered animals like kulans, saigas, and the Persian gazelles were forced to leave Barsak el-Mes island in search of fresh water. And they began to adapt to these conditions because this land has the same condition as the Barsak el-Mes island: a great mass of saxaul forest trees, excellent feeding area, and also it has a great source of fresh water. In 2000, there was an expedition studying some archaeological landmark found on the revealed part of the bottom of the Aral Sea. The news about the discovery of the architectural ruins on the territory of the Barsak el-Mes National Park appeared in the press and mentioned the existence of something like the Aral Atlantis of the distant past. In the city of Kazlorda, they set up an archaeological group, and journalists, anthropologists, experts in Arab studies, historians, and students of history departments set off to the park. The main camp was set in the town of Karateren, which used to be a fishing village on the shores of the Aral Sea. One of the expedition's members described the monument. It is located 70 kilometers from the Karateren town, in the middle between the Aral and the Barsak el-Mes peninsulas, southwest of the place where the Sirdarya River flows into Rusaj-Shikhanak Gulf. According to locals, this surface appeared in 1990. This was the time when the water level in the Aral Sea was rising, and several years later this surface could have become the bottom of the sea once again. The monument is an elongated oval hill with its long axle pointing in the south-north direction. The hill's surface is full of broken burnt square bricks and partially treated massive flat stone slabs. The central part of the monument has rectangular ruins where the wall bases are made of stone slabs. Several fractions of glazed and non-glazed decoration slabs were found amongst this brick mess, with carved and stamped ornaments on them. The southern, western, and northern sides of the building have several tens of burials. Perhaps the western thicker wall might have had a mihrab niche. In this case, the whole structure was more of a tomb with a mosque. The discovery and study of the 10th century necropolis at the bottom of the Aral Sea is an archaeologically verified fact telling us that the Aral Sea had several catastrophic cases of shallowing. According to the locals, the stone similar to the one used in the structure can be easily found in the Aral Peninsula. This used to be the name of the island in the north of the Aral Sea. Because of the water level drop, it connected with the Karatu Peninsula. The island is made of sandy argillaceous deposits and is covered by semi-desert vegetation. In 2005, the Aral Dam was built in the area around the Aral Gorge, which blocked the water from flowing through the Birch Strait to the Big Aral, which in turn allowed to stabilize the water level in the Small Aral. Amazingly, the date of the tomb and the necropolis coincides chronologically with the period of Aral's previous biggest shallowing. The Aral Sea is a landlocked lake in an arid zone, and the destination basin of rivers flowing into it, primarily the Amu Darya and the Sirdarya. Its water level mostly depends on the volume and patterns of the water runoff in these rivers. Sometimes the riverbeds change their direction or migrate, and the shoreline level in the Aral Sea depends on the direction of the main water runoff in these rivers. Also, the riverbed in the lower part of the Amu Darya is somewhat elevated on the cushion of its own alluvium and rises above the Sarakamush and the Aral depressions located to the right and left of it. Because of that, sometimes the river rapidly changes its direction, leaving the plateau either in the western or eastern directions. Over the historically observed time, specialists distinct 3 to 4 periods of the Aral Sea regression and transgressions replacing them. The fact is that in his historical and geographical studies, the famous Russian researcher of the Aral Sea history, Bartold, wrote a separate study named Information on the Aral Sea and Lower Reaches of the Amu Darya from the ancient times until the 17th century. Based on the critical analysis of all available written sources on the Aral Sea and the river Amu Darya, the researcher concluded that as a result of the destruction of the 8th century dam by the Mongols on the Amu Darya near Gungandja, the main flow of water went into Sarakamush Depression. The highest water level of the Caspian Sea was recorded in the 14th to 15th century. The turn of the main flow to the Sarakamush became an ecological catastrophe for the people of the lower Amu Darya. The end of the feeding by the Amu Darya waters also affected the Aral Sea. The lake became very shallow. Slow recovery of the water level was happening again, starting from mid-16th century. It is natural that under such conditions, the dried Aral Sea bottom became part of a desert in the late 13th to 14th centuries. The routes of trade caravans were set in it, necropolises and architectural monuments appeared here and there. The Aral transgression increased in the second half of the 14th century when the capricious Amu Darya had once again changed its bed and its main runoff went to the Aral Sea. Kazakhstan's government has been taking serious measures on saving the Aral and the region's economy in general. They managed to save the small Aral under the northern part of the sea, which is located completely on the country's territory.
Сейчас находимся у поселка Новый Каратирень, который можно считать эталоном возрождения Аральского моря, Малого Аральского моря.
Right now, we're near the town of New Karatiren, which can be considered as a model for restoring the Aral Sea, the small Aral Sea. There is also the old Karatiren, but unfortunately, after the sea had moved away, the old Karatiren started to get covered by the sand. So people were forced to settle further away from those sands. And now you can see this town is absolutely new with new constructions. The houses are mostly new. This is our traditional construction, tested by centuries when the houses are built using cane with local clay and sand, like with the elements of new construction methods and new technologies. The old fishermen's houses are not built anymore the way they used to, without a roof and smaller in size. And now, with the restoration of what the small Aral Sea provides as the source of income, people are trying to build more comfortable house. And this town, I can say once again, is proof that the small Aral Sea has raised their social and economic level. The construction of the 17-kilometer-long Aral Dam was completed in 2005 with a height of 6 meters and a width of around 300 meters, which separated the North Aral from the rest of the sea. And this caused the Sirdarya river runoff to collect only in this body of water, which in turn caused a slow rise in the water level. This allowed not only to reduce the water salinity in the North Aral, but to also farm commercial types of fishing. and in the future it should help restore the flora and the fauna of the Aral Sea region.